we have studied about the chapter wave optics theory. Now today we people are going to study about the NCERT exercise of the chapter wave optics, that is chapter number 10. Okay, so let's study about it. Here, the first question, that is 10.1 of the exercise is, we have given the monochromatic source, the monochromatic light of wavelength 589 meter is incident from air on the water surface. What are the wavelength, frequency and speed of the reflected and refracted light? Refractive index of the water is given to us 1.33. So first of all, what are the parameters which are given to us? We people are going to write here. That is, we have given, we people are provided with the wavelength of the light, that is lambda 589 nanometer, and then the refractive index of the water, that is 1.33. So we have to find the wavelength of, first in the first part for reflected ray. For a reflected ray, we people have to find out the parameters which are asked, that is, what about the speed, what about the speed, what about the wavelength, what about the frequency for the reflected ray. And here in the B part, he has asked for calculate these similar parameters for refracted, for this refracted ray. That is, we want to calculate the speed, then wavelength, then frequency for the refracted ray. So how we can calculate here these parameters? So mind that whenever the ray of light is incident on the transparent refracting surface, and if it is reflected, then after reflection all the parameters remain same. That is, what are the wavelength, frequency, or what we can say speed of the light, it does not change. But after suffering the refraction, the parameters, the frequency of the light waves, that remains same, but the speed and the wavelength changes. How these changes? Let's calculate their values. So here we will write that for reflected ray, in the solution we will write here, as we know that after reflection the speed of light remains same. So therefore here the speed of light V will be equals to C, and C is equals to 3 into 10 raised power 8 meter per second. Further, after reflection the wavelength of light also remains same. Further, the wavelength of light also remains same. So therefore wavelength will be equals to, that is equals to 589 nanometer, so it will remain same. Also the frequency of the light does not changes. So therefore, how we can calculate this frequency? As we know that speed of light is given by distance over time, or we can write lambda into nu. This v is equals to lambda into nu, so we can calculate nu is equals to v by lambda. So therefore, here in this case, nu will be equals to, frequency will be equals to speed of light divided by the wavelength. So speed of light is here 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, and divided by wavelength, that is equals to 589 nanometer. So we are expanding this nano in terms of meter. We are writing like that. So as a result of which the frequency will comes out to be, its calculated value will comes out to be, that is 5.09 into 5.09 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. In this way, we people can calculate the frequency. Okay, now for refracted ray of light, how we can calculate these parameters? Here in this case, in case of refraction of light, as we know that the parameter, that frequency remains unchanged, and the wavelength as well as the speed of the light changes when it is suffering refraction in the medium having refractive index of this. So here we will write, as we know that after refraction, after suffering refraction, or simply after refraction, the frequency of the light, remains unchanged. So therefore, here the frequency will be equals to, that is, as we have calculated, 5.09 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. It will remain same. Further, the speed of the light, further, as we know that the speed of the light, or we can say refractive index, that is absolute refractive index, is given by mu is equals to c over v. So which implies speed is equals to c over mu. So putting the value here, what we get, 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second divided by 1.33. So we got the value of the speed in the medium, that is 2.26 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. That is 2.26 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So in this way, this will be the speed of light after suffering refraction in the medium. Also, we can calculate here, that is, what about the frequency? So we can say here, again we are using the same formula, speed is to distance over time, or distance into nu. So speed of light here we have calculated in case of water. Okay, so here we are writing it as, that is, this divided by frequency. Also, as we know that, we can write that lambda can be written as wavelength of the ray of light as it is suffering refraction in water. So lambda w will be given by v, speed of light in water, divided by frequency. So putting the values, that is 2.26 into 10 to the power 8 divided by frequency. What about frequency? 5.09 into 10 to the power 14 hertz, and this is given by wavelength. Its calculated value will be 444 nanometer. So this will be the wavelength of light after suffering refraction in the medium. So this was your exercise 10.1. Now let's study about this exercise 10.2. So in exercise 10.2 what we have given, the question is, what is the shape of the wavefront in each of the following cases? In the first case he has asked the question that light diverging from a point source. So in first part we have to answer that light diverging from point source. Let us consider this is our point source. So the rays of light are diverging. So we will show it like in the form of diverging beam in this way. So what would be the shape of a wavefront in this case? So as we have already studied, that diverging beam or converging beam of rays of light, they represent the spherical wavefront. So this type of wavefront will be formed and answer will be spherical wavefront. Spherical wavefront. Let's move to the part B. In part B, it is asked that what would be the shape of wavefront if the light emerges out from the convex lens when a point source is placed at its focus. Point source is placed at the focus of the convex lens. This is our convex lens, is the point source. So rays of light are going like that. If it is placed at the focus, so what would happen here? After suffering refraction, the rays of light will be in the form of parallel beam. So here it is asked, what would be the type of the wavefront when the light emerges out of convex lens when a point source is placed at focus. So here in this case, the wavefront emerges out will be in the form of a plane wavefront. The plane wavefront will get emerged out after suffering refraction. Now here in part C, the question is, portion of the wavelength of the light from a distant star intercepted by the earth. So as the distant source of light, that is here in this case, that is a star is lying at very far distance, so the light rays are we can say that light rays are coming from infinity. So at earth they will reach in the form of a plane wavefront, because we have already studied that for forming the plane wavefront, the rays of light must come in the form of parallel beam. So here we will write as the rays of light, coming from distant star, will be in the form of parallel beam, so the corresponding wavelength, so the wavefront will be plane wavefront. Wavefront will be plane wavefront. In this way we can explain. So this is your 10.2 exercise. Now let's move to the third one. So here in case of exercise 10.3, the situation which is given to us, the refractive index of the glass, we have given refractive index of glass mu is equals to 1.5. What is the speed of light in glass? What is the speed of light in glass? Means to say, we have to calculate V in glass, and further we have given speed of light in vacuum is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So here in part A, we people are asked this point, and in the second part is asking, is the speed of light in the glass independent of color of light? If not, which of the two colors, either red or violet, travel slower in the glass prism? So let's first of all solve this first part. As we know that absolute refractive index is given by mu is equals to C by V. So which implies V is equals to C by mu, and if we put the value of this C, that is 3 into 10 is power 8 meter per second and refractive index value 1.5, then what we get in the next step? It will becomes equals to 3 into 10 is power 8 into 10 over this 15, or instead we can write, if we eliminate this and that will be equals to, in the next step we can write 30 into 10 is power 8 over 15, and which implies we have V is equals to 2 into 10 is power 8 meter per second. So therefore the speed of light in glass will be 2 into 10 is power 8 meter per second. Now let's answer this B part. He is asking that is the speed of light in glass is independent of color of light? So no, on the basis of this part we can say no, the speed of light is not independent of color of light, is not independent of color of light. Now here the question is asking that if not, which of the two color, red or violet, travel slower in glass prism? So here in this case, as we know that mu is equals to C over V, which implies V is equals to C over mu. Let it be question number 1. Further, the relation between refractive index and the wavelength of the light is given by Cauchy's formula. Further, as we can write that mu is equals to A plus B over lambda square plus C over lambda raised power 4, so on, where A, B and C are constant, and this relation between absolute refractive index and what we can say wavelength of light, it is called as Cauchy's formula. So according to this formula we can say, or we can say here, mu is inversely proportional to the square of the wavelength. Okay, so in the next step we can say here that as the wavelength of the red color is greater, further, as length of the red color is greater than the wavelength of the violet color. What does it mean? Which means that we can say the refractive index for the what we can say red color will be lesser than the refractive index for the violet color. Now if the refractive index of the red color is lesser, then V is found to be greater. So here we can say so therefore what we can say, the speed of light of the red color light will be greater than the speed for the violet color. So here the question is asked that which color will travel slow in the prism, the speed of which color will be slow in the prism. So here we can say hence the speed of violet color will be slow in the prism. So this is our question. Okay, let's move to the next question. 10.4. The question is, in a Young's double slit experiment, the slits are separated by distance 0.28 mm. Means to say, what we have given here in this case, we have given small d 0.28 mm because in Young's double slit experiment, as we know that the distance between the two slits is denoted by small d. So it is given to us 0.28 mm, and the screen is placed at a distance of 1.4 meters. This capital D is also given to us. So capital D is also given, that is 1.4 meter. Apart from that, the distance between center bright fringe and the fourth bright fringe. Distance between the center bright fringe and fourth bright fringe, that is the position of the fourth bright fringe, is measured to be, we have given y4 is given to be 1.2 centimeter. Determine the wavelength of light used in the experiment. So we want to calculate this wavelength. So mind that here the central maximum will be there. So in this way the fringes are formed. This is first, second and this third one. So distance of this fourth bright fringe from the center, that is y4, it is given to us. We want to calculate the wavelength. So how we can calculate it? As we know that y4 is given by, position of the bright fringe is given by n lambda d by d. So we want to calculate here lambda. So lambda will be y4 d over n d. What about n here? That is equals to 4. Okay, so putting the value, what we get? y4 1.2 centimeter, that is 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 2 meter, and this is given in millimeter. So we will write in SI, that is 0.28 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Okay, putting the value, what we get? That is 1.2 into 10 to the power minus 2 d, small d, 0.28 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter divided by n, that is 4 into capital D, that is 1.4. So what we get here on cutting it, 4 1 is 4 and 7 4 is 28. Okay, in the next step it will be equals to 0.01, 7 1 is 7, 7 2 is 14, and here we can also cut 0.1 here and here 0.6, that 2 1 is 2 and 6 2 is 12. So here what would be the answer when this point, that can be written as 10 to the power minus 1, when goes to the upside, then this decimal can cancel out, and here 6 into 10 to the power, this minus 3 and 2 minus 5, and this minus 7. So we can say, therefore wavelength of light used will be 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter. This will be the required answer, like that, for this question 10.4. So this is the required answer. Now let's move to the next question, that is 10.5. Let's study about the 10.5 question. So here in 10.5 question, what we have given in 10.5, in Young's double slit experiment using the monochromatic light of wavelength lambda, the intensity of the light at a point on the screen where path difference is lambda is k unit. Further, what is the intensity of light at a point where path difference is lambda by 3? So here in this case, as we know that the intensity of the light is given by, in Young's double slit experiment, that is I is equals to I naught cos square phi by 2. In this way, we have already studied about this, that I is equals to I naught cos square phi by 2. Further, as we know that the relation between phase and path difference is given by phi is equals to 2 pi by lambda into x. Let this be question number 2. Okay. So in the next step, how we can write this? So here in this case 1 we have given here, in case 1, if the path difference, if x is given to us in the first part, that is equal to k units. Sorry, if the path difference is lambda, if x is equals to lambda, then I is equals to what we have given, x is equals to, here in this case we have given x path difference is equals to lambda and intensity is equals to k unit. So now from equation 2 we can write, from equation 2 what we get, we can find the phase difference, that phase phi will be equals to 2 pi by lambda into x. What is the value of x? That is lambda. Lambda will get cancelled out. What we get, phi is equals to 2 pi. We got the value of the phase, and when we put here, then we will got the value of intensity, that is I naught. So now using the value of phi or substituting value of phi in equation 1. So therefore from equation 1 what we get, I, that is given to us k units, and I naught into cos sphere phi by 2, that is 2 pi by 2. So 2 and 2, here it is 2 pi. So what we get here, that is 2 and 2 will get cancelled out. Okay, we can also write it like as that cos of this, the meaning is similar. So what we get in the next step, I naught into cos phi whole sphere, and cos phi is minus 1, so I naught into minus 1 ka whole sphere, that will be equals to 1, so which implies I naught is equals to k units. So this is the value of initial intensity. Further, in case 2 what we have given, in case 2 we people are given as, the path difference is equals to lambda by 3. So if the path difference is lambda by 3, then what about the value of the intensity? So here again we people will make use of this equation number 2, and we will find the phase difference. Now as from equation 2 what we get, phi phase difference is equals to 2 pi by lambda into x. Put the value of x. What we get? Lambda will get cancelled out. We get the value phi is equals to 2 pi by 3. Phi is equals to 2 pi by 3. That is phase. Now so therefore from equation 1 what we get, from equation 1 I is equals to I naught cos sphere phi. So putting the value of phi 2 pi by 3 like that, or putting the value of here k, that is k into cos of 2 pi by 3 raised power 2. We can write like that. Now cos 2 pi by 3 means to say cos 180 degree, and it's 120 degree will be there, because 180 multiplied to 360 divided by 3, that will be equal to 120 degree, and cos 120 value is minus 1 by 2. So here we can write that is equals to minus 1 by 2 whole sphere, and this implies k by 4. So this will be the required answer. In this way we can solve this. 10.5. Whatever the path difference is given to you, first of all you have to calculate this phase. After calculating the phase, only it is possible to calculate the intensity. Okay. Now let's move to the next question, exercise question, that is 10.6. 10.6 is saying a beam of light consisting of two wavelengths. We have given wavelength lambda 1 650 nanometer and wavelength lambda 2 520 nanometer. is used to obtain the interference pattern in a Young's double slit experiment. So in the first part, he is asking that find the distance of the third bright fringe on the screen from the central maximum of wavelength this. So we have to find this distance of third bright fringe, means to say position of the third bright fringe we want to calculate. Okay, and for the wavelength lambda 1 650 nanometer. So how we can calculate it? Let's study about this. As we know that y3 will be equals to, if we are putting the value, then 3 lambda 1 d by d. Now here d by d is misprinted in this NCERT textbook, so its value we can write here. It will also be given to us, that is small d. It will also be given to us. We can write here that given small d is equals to 2 mm and capital D, it is also given to us, that is 120 centimeter. Okay. So by putting the values here in this formula, we will got the answer. So writing it in the what we can say in System International, putting the value 3 into lambda 1 650 nanometer. So nano means 10 to the power minus 9. What about capital D? 120 centimeter. So 120 into 10 to the power minus 2 meter will be there, divided by small d, that is 2 mm, and 2 mm means 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Okay, so after calculating it, we get the answer that will be 62 ja 120, and after calculation we got its answer 1.17 millimeter. So this will be the required answer. Now let's move to the second part. Is saying what is the least distance from the central maximum where the bright fringe is due to both the wavelengths coincide. So here we have already studied in the theory that whenever the two consecutive bright fringes coincide, then condition becomes n1 lambda 1 is equals to n2 lambda 2, where n2 is equals to n1 plus 1, or difference between n2 minus n1 should be equal to 1. So here we will assume, let us consider, here we are assuming let x is equals to the least distance. It is asked in the question, least distance from the central maximum, where the bright fringes due to both the wavelengths coincide. Where the bright fringes due to both the wavelengths coincide. So here in this case we can write it further, that is x is equals to n1 or n1 beta 1, it must be equals to n2 beta 2. Putting the value, what we get, which implies n1 beta 1, that is lambda 1 d by d, it must be equals to n2 lambda 2 d by d. So here in this case, this d by d, they both will get cancelled out, and what we get, which implies n1 lambda 1 will be equals to n2 lambda. So putting the value, here, what we get in the next step, that is putting the value of n2, that is n2 will be equals to n1 plus 1. So here we get N1 lambda 1 is equals to N1 plus 1 into lambda 2. So here, now we will put the values and we will calculate the value of N1. After calculating the value of N1, we will find this X. Okay, so substitute the value, what we get. Substituting the value, what we get. The next step, that is N1 into lambda 1. What is the value of lambda 1? That is 650 into 10 raised power minus 9 meter. It must be equals to N1 plus 1 into lambda 2. That is 520 into 10 raised power minus 9 meter. So here in this case, what would happen? That is this 10 raised power minus 9 and this 10 raised power minus 9 will get cancelled out, and this 0 and will also get cancelled out. And if we talk about the table of 13, then 13 4 ja, 4 13 ja, and 5 13 ja, that will be 65. So which implies 5N1 will be equals to 4 into N1 plus 1, and that is 4N1 plus 4. Okay, so which implies 5N1 minus 4N1 is equals to 4, or which implies N1 is equals to 4. So here we are getting the value of N1. So therefore X1 will be, X will be equals to N1 lambda 1 D by D. Substitute the value. N1 4, lambda 1 650 nanometer, 10 raised power minus 9. Value of D, that is 120 centimeter, that is into 10 raised power minus 2 divided by D, that is distance between two slits, 2 into 10 raised power minus 3. So here what we get, the 2 1 ja 2, 62 ja, okay, and here what we get, 64 ja, 6 4 ja 24, 214 to 650 into 10 raised power minus 11, 10 raised power minus 11, and this 3 when comes to up, then what we get, that is equals to minus 8. So this will be the, after calculation we got its value as 1.56 millimeter. So you can check 1.56 millimeter. This will be the distance, least distance between the two bright fringes, where what we can say, this is the least distance from the center maximum where the bright fringes due to both the wavelengths will coincide. Very important question. So many times CBSE has asked this question. So mind that the formula, that if we assume that X is the least distance from center maximum where bright fringes due to both the wavelengths coincide, under that condition we have to make use of this formula. X is equals to N1 beta 1 is equals to N2 beta 2, or we can say this is N1 lambda 1 is equals to N2 lambda 2, as we have already studied in the what we can say theory lecture. So in this way we can get the required answer. Let's move to the next question. Question number 10.7. What about this question number 10.7? Is saying that in a double slit experiment, the angular width of the fringe is found to be 0.2 angstrom. Now, angular width of the fringe, he is saying, and the experiment is double slit experiment. So here, this is the double slit, and this is the screen. Here, we got the central maximum like as in this way. So here, he is saying that the angular width of a fringe is found to be 0.2 degree on a screen. So here the angular width, we can say this is the center maxima. So let us consider this is the angular width of the fringe. It is theta, and this is the width, and here this is the distance capital T. So here in this case, this theta is given to us. So in double slit experiment, angular width is found to be given. Angular width of the fringe in case 1, theta is equals to 0.2 degree. On a screen placed at a distance of d is equals to 1 meter. It is also given to us. The wavelength of light used is 600 nanometer. It is also given to us. What will be the angular width of the fringe? In the second case, he is asking what would be the angular width of the fringe if the entire apparatus is immersed in the water having the refractive index 4/3. Okay, and what the apparatus we have to immerse? That is Young's double slit experiment, because it is the condition. In this condition it is given to us. So if we talk about this case 1, this is case 1. In case 1, these parameters are given to us: angular width, this distance, and this. So as according to the figure, if we see, then angular width will be equals to beta by d, that is beta by capital D, but beta is given by lambda d by this small d. So here we can put the value lambda d by this small d and is divided by capital D. So what we get? Theta will be lambda by small d. In this way, this will be the angular width. So from here, we people will calculate this small d, and small d is nothing but lambda by theta. Let it be equation number 1. Okay. Now, in case 2, he is asking about that what would be the angular width if the Young's double slit experiment is immersed in the water of refractive index mu is equals to 4/3. So here we again write, as the apparatus is immersed inside the water. So the new angular width theta dash will be equals to beta dash by d, and here we can write, but beta dash will be given by lambda dash d by d. But lambda dash, in terms of lambda, we can write lambda dash will be equal to lambda by mu. So lambda d by mu d. In this way, this will be the beta dash. Putting the value here, lambda d by mu d divided by this capital D. So what we get? The value of theta dash, that will be equals to lambda over d into 1 over mu, and this d and this d, they both will get cancelled out. Okay, so putting the value here using equation 1 here, what we get the value, that is lambda by d, that is equals to theta. Here, instead of giving this equation as equation number 1, we can also find this value, that is, we don't have the given the value of this, so we can put the value of this d. Yes, d is equals to lambda by theta, using this value. So here we will put the value of d, but d is equals to lambda by theta. Okay, so putting the value, what we get? Lambda over this lambda by theta into 1 over mu. Mu. So putting the value, what we get in the next step, theta dash will be equals to this lambda into theta by lambda into 1 over mu. So put the value. So what we get here, lambda and lambda will get cancelled out. We get theta over mu. Theta is given to us 0.2 degree over mu, that is 4/3. So, or we get here that is 0.2 into 3 by 4, or we can write this 0.1 by 2, 2 to the 4, and this we get that is equals to 3 by 2, 1.5, 1.5 multiplied by this, that is equals to 0.15 degree. That will be the new angular width of that frame. So in this way we can calculate this. Once again repeating, in case 1 what was given to us, that is we people were provided with the value, that is angular width of the frames in a Young's double slit experiment is found to be 0.2 degree when screen is placed at a distance of 1 meter and the wavelength of light used is how much? 600 nanometer. So as we know that theta is equals to beta by d, putting the value we got the formula for angular width, or directly we can put its value. So from here we will calculate the value of this small d because it is not given to us. In the second case, we people are asked that when the Young's double slit experiment is inside the liquid of refractive index 4 by 3, then what would be the angular width? So here angular width will be given by beta dash by d. So when the Young's double slit experiment is immersed inside the liquid, then the new fringe width beta dash will becomes equals to lambda d by mu d. Putting the value here, this d and d will get cancelled out, we got this, and here we will put the value of this d, and after putting value we get this theta dash is equals to theta by mu, or calculating in this way we got this new angular width. Good question. Let's move to the next question, 10.8. The question is, what is the Brewster angle for air to glass transition? Refractive index of the glass is given to us 1.5. So we want to find here, this is the 10.8 exercise. We want to find the Brewster's angle, that is polarizing angle. The another name of Brewster angle, polarizing angle is Brewster angle. So given here mu is equals to 1.5. We want to calculate this theta p. So as according to Brewster's law, what we have, that is tangent of this polarizing angle is equals to refractive index, or we can say theta p will be equals to tan inverse, putting the value of mu 1.5. We get theta p is equals to 56.6 degree after calculating or seeing its value in the natural tangents. So this will be the required answer for this 10.8. This 56.3 degree will be there. Let's move to the next question. We people are in the 10.9 exercise. So here in 10.9, what we have given, light of wavelength 5000 angstrom falls on a plane refracting surface. What are the wavelength and frequency of the reflected light? So here, in this way, light having the wavelength of the light is given to us, okay, falls on the plane reflecting surface. This is our plane reflecting surface. The question is, what are the wavelength and frequency? So when it strikes the reflecting surface, then what would happen? It will be reflected along this direction. And for what angle of incidence the reflected ray is normal to the incident ray? So here, we people are given only the wavelength, and we want to find the wavelength and the frequency of the reflected ray. So here in this case, this is our incident ray. And here this is our reflected ray. Reflected ray. This is the reflecting surface. This is the reflecting surface. Further, if we consider that this ray of light is incident at an angle of incidence I, then it is reflected obeying the laws of reflection such that angle between incident and the reflected ray is 90 degrees. And here the wavelength of light, it is given to us, wavelength of light lambda is given to us, that is 5000 angstrom. 5000 angstrom, that is 5000 into 10 is power minus 10 meter. We people are asked to calculate the wavelength and frequency of the reflected light. So as we have already studied that, and I have already told you that after suffering reflection, neither the wavelength, neither the speed, neither the frequency, all the parameters remain same after suffering reflection. So here in the rarer medium, what is the speed of light? That is equals to 3 into 10 is power 8 meter per second. Wavelength will remain same. So wavelength is as this. Speed is 3 into 10 is power 8 meter per second. And we want to calculate frequency. So by applying the formula, speed is equals to distance over time. Frequency will be equal to speed over wavelength. So we can calculate its answer. So here we can write, as we know that after reflection, the wavelength and speed and frequency of light, remains unchanged. So therefore wavelength of reflected light, that is lambda will be equals to same, that is 5000 angstrom. What about the speed? The speed of the reflected light will be equals to c, and that is equals to 3 into 10 is power 8 meter per second. Further frequency of reflected light is given by, as we know that speed is equals to distance, that is lambda into nu. So nu is equals to, that is nu will be equals to this c by lambda. What about this c? Putting the value 3 into 10 is power 8 divided by wavelength 5000 into 10 is power minus 10 meter. So meter cancel, there will be cancel out, and we got the value of the frequency, and after calculation its value will comes out to be, therefore nu will be equal to 6 into 10 is power 14 hertz or per second. So this will be the required answer, 6 into 10 is power 14 hertz. So this was exercise 10.9. Let's move to the next question. Next part. He is saying that for what angle of incidence the reflected ray normal to the incident ray. Okay. So here, what we can say, as it is given to us that reflected ray is normal to the reflected ray, so sum of the angle of incidence and angle of reflection must be equal to 90 degree. So, and further we can say that angle of incidence according to laws of reflection is equal to angle of reflection. So putting here the value, which implies twice of angle of incidence will be equal to 90 degree, which implies angle of incidence is equal to 45 degree. So this will be the required answer. So for this angle of incidence, the reflected ray will be normal to the incident ray. So this is about the 10.9. Let's move to the next exercise, that is 10.10. The question is, estimate the distance. Estimate the distance at which ray optics is of good approximation for the aperture of 4 mm. So for the aperture we take the value of denote the aperture as equal to A, and wavelength is 400 nanometer. So we have given the wavelength of light 400 nanometer, and aperture small a value is given to us 4 millimeter. We want to calculate this Fresnel distance. Why? Because we have already studied that ray optics has the good approximation at the Fresnel distance. And what is the Fresnel distance? The distance at which the diffraction spread of the image on the screen is equivalent to the size of a aperture. Under that condition, ray optics was valid. So as here we will write, since or as we know that for ray optics to have the good approximation, ZF must be equals to A square by lambda. So putting the value here, what is A? 4 mm, writing it in terms of system international like that, 400 nanometer, 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So here what we get, 4 into 10 to the power minus 3 whole square divided by wavelength. That is 400 into 10 to the power minus 9. So what we get, 4 4 just 16 into 10 to the power minus 6 over 4 into 10 to the power, we can write 7. Okay, so here 4 4 just 16, and when this comes to hours, so it will be multiplied by 10 to the power 1. So ZF will be equals to 40 meters. So this will be the required answer here in this case. Now let's move to the next exercise, 10.11. What about this 10.11 exercise? That is additional exercise problems are there. So let's study about this. We people are going to solve this additional exercise. Additional exercise questions. So the question, first one is exercise 10.11. So what is the statement of this question? So the question here we have given the 6563 angstrom H alpha line emitted by the hydrogen. So here we have given, that is lambda, given the wavelength lambda for H alpha line, lambda for H alpha line emitted by hydrogen, ठीक है, is, that is lambda is equals to 6563 angstrom. It is given to us. In a star is found to be redshifted by 15 angstrom. Means to say redshift is taking place, so delta lambda is given to us 15 angstrom. Estimate the speed with which the star is receding from the surface of Earth. Means to say we want to calculate this V radius. The question is, we have given the wavelength of H alpha emitted by the hydrogen in a star and is found to be redshifted. What is redshift? In the Doppler effect in light, already I have mentioned in the lecture, theory lecture, that in astronomy redshift is called when what would happen? Redshift means the particle or source of light moves away. Source of light is moving away, then what would happen? Frequency decreases and wavelength increases. So apparent change in the frequency, in that case we can write as according to Doppler's effect, according to Doppler's effect in light for redshift, what we have for redshift, apparent change in the frequency of the light was equals to minus of delta lambda by lambda is equals to minus of V radial by C. So here V radial is taken to be positive. When it is taken to be positive, when the source of light is moving away, so here what would happen? This negative and negative sign will get cancelled out, and we got the V radial is equals to delta lambda by lambda into C. Putting the value here, what is delta lambda? 6563 into 10 is power minus 10 divided by wavelength 15 angstrom. 15 into 10 is power minus 10 into C. 3 into 10 is power 8 meter per second. So its calculated value will come out to be, after calculation we got its value 6.86 into 10 is power 5 meter per second. So this will be the value of this speed of V radial, that is the speed of the star receding from the earth. Now let's move to the next question. The question number is 10 point exercise 10.12. What is the question? Question is, explain how corpuscular theory given by the Newton predicts the speed of light in a medium. How the Newton's corpuscular theory predicts the speed of light in medium, say water, to be greater than the speed of light in vacuum. Is the prediction confirmed by the experiment determination of the speed of light in water? If not, which alternative picture of light is consistent with this experiment? So here we people, according to corpuscular theory given by the Newton, explained by the Newton in his famous book, what we say, Optics. According to Newton, light is made up of tiny, light, invisible particles, what we call corpuscular. Okay, and what would happen according to Newton theory of this corpuscular model of light? Whenever the corpuscular travels from rarer to denser medium, so after refraction, these corpusculars get attracted towards the normal, as a result of which their speed increases in the denser medium, according to this corpuscular model. But in fact it is not true. According to the Heisenberg theory, the speed of light in the medium decreases, and so many experimental evidences are nowadays are there which says that whenever the ray of light suffers a refraction, then its speed in the denser medium should decrease. So how the Newton was correct and how this statement was contradicted, let us study about it. So here we can say, according to Newton corpuscular model of light, let us consider. Here in this case, this is the refracting medium having the refractive index mu. Let us consider here it is rarer medium denoted by mu1, it is the denser medium mu2. Here the ray of light is traveling in the rarer medium, okay, and this ray of light, let us consider it has the speed denoted by v1. Now when it is made incident on this interface, Let us consider the angle of incidence is denoted by I. What would happen after refraction? This ray of light got refracted like that, suffers the refraction. This is the angle of refraction. In this way, let us consider the speed of light in this medium, denser medium is denoted by V2. Okay. So what would happen? Let us consider this as AO and this as OB. So according to Newton's corpuscular model of light, if we resolve this velocity into two rectangular components, then what would happen if this angle is angle of incidence, then this angle will also be angle of incidence. If this angle is angle of what we can say refraction, under that condition, if we further resolve this into two rectangular components, under that condition what we get, this angle as angle of refraction here. So on solving the component, what we get here, V1 sin I, horizontal component will be V1 cos I and here V1 sin I. This will be the vertical component. Okay, and here in this case, on resolving this into two rectangular components, this will be V2 cos R and this component will be V2 sin R in this way. Okay, so according to Newton corpuscular model of light, when the corpuscular suffers the refraction, so after suffering refraction they got attracted by the normal, as a result of which their component of the speed of light in the downward direction, they will get increased. So that's why the speed of light according to Newton corpuscular model of light increases in the denser medium. Now let's see how it's true. Further, he explains. Here we can say according to corpuscular model of light. Corpuscular model of light. The component of let us consider this is our interface. The component of the velocity along the surface of the refracting surface, that is equals to the component of velocity after refraction along the surface. So here we are considering, let V1 sin I, or directly we can write according to corpuscular model of light, the component of velocity along the surface xy, according to corpuscular model of light, component of light along surface xy before refraction, it must be equals to the component of light along surface xy after refraction. So putting the value here, so that is component along the surface before refraction is V1 sin I and is equals to V2 sin R. In this way we can write. Okay, so what we get here, that is, which implies this V2 over V1 will be equals to sin I over sin R in this way. Now, what about this sin I over sin R? That is the relative refractive index of this medium is, we have considered water. So ray of light is coming from air to water. So it is equals to A mu W. Okay. So which implies V2 over V1, we can also say A mu W. Now since A mu W is greater than 1, So therefore speed of light, so therefore if I let it as equation number 1, so therefore from equation 1 what we get, that this V2 will be greater than V1, that is speed of light in the denser medium, that is in water, will be greater than speed of light in the rarer medium, and which is the contradiction. So in the next part what is asking, is the prediction confirmed by the experimental determination of the speed of light in water, and if not, which alternate picture is consistent with the experiment? So here, in order to explain about this picture, what is the alternate picture? The alternate picture already we have studied, that is Christian Huygens has put forwarded the theory in order to prove this wave nature of light. So according to corpuscular model of light, in this way speed of light is this. So here we can say which is not true, which is not true according to the alternate picture, what we can say, according to the alternate picture of light, given by Huygens, Christian Huygens. So in this way, this was question number 10.12. We can explain like that. Let's move ahead in the question number 10.13. So in exercise 10.13, what he is saying? He is saying that you have learned in the text how Huygens principle leads to the laws of reflection and refraction. Use the same principle to deduce directly that a point object placed in front of plane mirror produces a virtual image whose distance from the mirror is equal to the object distance from the mirror. So in order to prove this, the question first of all is need to understand. Let us consider this is our reflecting surface. Okay, this reflecting surface is there, denoted by this in this way. Let us consider this is our reflecting surface. Now an object is placed at this point. Now taking O as center and the distance OP as radius, we draw an arc, that is, we draw an arc which touches the mirror at pointer P, okay. So this W dash is considered to be according to Huygens principle. Let us consider this is the incident plane wavefront, okay, spherical wavefront. This W, rather I would like to say, and here this I am denoting it as W dash and W dash. Taking O as center, this is our object which is placed at a distance, this OP, taking O as center and OP as radius, draw an arc WPW which touches this reflecting surface, what we call mirror, at pointer P. Now what would happen? During the time interval, let us consider this is in accordance with the Huygens principle. This W is called as the spherical wavefront. Now, as this spherical wavefront is made incident on the reflecting surface, then each point on this spherical wavefront will act as a source of secondary wavelets. According to Huygens theory, each point on this spherical primary wavefront will act as a source of secondary wavelets. Now, during the time interval, the wavelets reaches the point W dash by traveling the distance W dash at the same time. During this time interval, the secondary wavelet from point P will get reflected. Same is the case happened with the other points, whether the point is lying here. So what would happen? During the time interval, this wavefront, spherical wavefront hits the, or what we can say, spherical wavefront reaches W dash at the same time. Secondary wavefront gets reflected by this reflecting surface like as, let us consider this be as W dash P double dash and this W dash. Okay, this is in the presence of a mirror. Now suppose if the mirror is absent, here in this case, here W dash will be equals to P double P dash. Okay, this distance covered by this what we can say spherical wavefront, when during the time interval it reaches at W dash at the same time, what we can say the spherical wavefront or the secondary wavelets after reflection will emerge out such that this P double P dash will be equals to W dash. Now in the absence of, this was in the presence of this reflecting surface. Now if the absence of this reflecting surface, that is what we call mirror, what would happen? This spherical wavefront will have emerged like that, and after time t we got the spherical wavefront as W dash P dash W dash. Okay, and if we draw the course of rays of light, then what would happen here in this case? Here in this case, this distance and this distance, they are found to be same in this way. So this will be the image in this way. Okay. So what would happen if we can say, if the center of the arc, this W dash P dash and W dash is O, then the center of arc W dash, double P dash and W dash will be I, because both these arcs are symmetrical, as arcs W dash, double P dash, W dash is symmetrical with arc, which one? W dash, P dash and W dash. So what would happen? So therefore what would happen? The virtual image formed, the distance of virtual image formed by this plane mirror, it will be the distance of this virtual image will be equals to the object distance. So therefore OP will be equals to PI, and hence it is the proof. Once again repeating. Let us consider an object is placed in front of the plane reflecting surface. Now taking O as center and radius equals to OP, we draw an arc WPW which touches the reflecting surface at point P. Now, according to Huygens principle, each point on this primary spherical wavefront will act as a source of secondary wavelets. So, during the time interval, the secondary wavelet reaches at point W dash, traveling this distance W dash. During the same interval, a secondary wavelet will get reflected from point P such that this W dash will be equals to P double dash. Okay. Further, what would happen after some time? same is the case happened with the other points. So we got the reflected spherical wavefront as W dash, WP dash and W dash in the presence of this reflecting mirror. Now, if this reflecting surface is absent, under that condition this spherical wavefront has what we can say traveled up like that, and after some time t we got the spherical wavefront which is emerging ahead, that is W dash, P dash and W dash. Now as the arc, which arc, that is W dash, P double dash and W dash is symmetrical with the arc W dash, P dash and W dash. So what would happen? As both these arcs are symmetrical, so their center should be lie at the same distance. So therefore distance OP will be equal to distance PI. So this thing we have to prove here in this question. Now let's move to the next question. That is 10.14. What about this 10.14? We have given the factors. Factors are given. I am writing here. First one is nature of source. The second one is direction of propagation. Direction of propagation. Direction of propagation. The third factor is given to us motion of source. Motion of source or observer. The fourth factor is given wavelength. Fifth factor is given, that is intensity of the wave. Intensity of wave. And the sixth factor is, these five factors are given, and the question is on which of these factors, if any, does the speed of light in vacuum depends and the speed of light in medium depends. So here speed of light in vacuum, speed of light in vacuum, and B part in what we can say speed of light in medium, speed of light in medium, So what are the factors? Speed of light in medium we have given, say glass or water. These are the factors we have given, and we people are asked that out of these five factors, on what factors the speed of light in vacuum depends. So for answering this part A, as we know that according to Einstein's theory of relativity, speed of light is absolute constant in vacuum, whose value does not change. So we can say speed of light is independent for all of these factors. None of what we can say here we can answer this question as speed of light is absolute constant according to Einstein's theory of relativity. According to Einstein's theory of relativity. So therefore speed of light is independent of, so speed of light is independent of above factors, above factors in this way. The second thing, while answering this part B, whether the speed of light depends on the what we can say medium or not. So if we talk about the medium, so if we have placed a source of light in the medium, then the speed of light will not get affected by the nature of source. Whatever the nature of source is there, the speed of light will remain same, that is, it is independent of source of light. Again, direction of propagation. Direction of propagation, it is also independent. What the type of medium is? Direction of propagation is always along the same straight line. What about the third factor? Motion of the source. It is also independent of the motion of the source. What about the wavelength? Yes. Speed of light in medium depends upon the wavelength of light used. But because we have already studied this formula, that is mu is equals to C by V, which implies V will be equal to C by mu. So if the medium has changed, then this refractive index of the medium will change, say water, as we have given in the question. So speed of light depends upon the wavelength of light, as we have already studied about in the question. Further, speed of light is independent of intensity of the wave. So here, if we talk about the medium, so speed of light only depends upon the wavelength of light and is independent of the rest of the factors. So students, in this lecture we have solved these questions 1 to 14, and rest of the questions to be continued. Thank you.